Hello, everyone. I must welcome you all to our webinar series, the B School Insider, all you need to know about your dream school. And I'm your host, Kalyani, for this webinar. So in today's B School Insider topic, we have IIM Bangalore, campus life, placements, and academics. And in this webinar, we will get to know about the journey of the 4 panelists who have joined us from IIM Bangalore. We will be talking about the CAT prep tips, PI prep tips, campus life, academic schedule, and faculty, and of course, internships and placements. So let's welcome our panelists today. We have Jainesh Rathod, he's from batch 2024. We have Vatsal Mankodi from batch 2024. We have Rahul Tripathi from batch 2023, and very soon he's going to be joining as assistant manager at American Express. Congratulations to you, Rahul. And Mayur Arora, and we have Mayur Arora. He's from batch 2021. He's a product manager at Microsoft. So thank you guys and welcome all of you for this session. So let's start from the beginning. So we'll talk about the CAT score, the interview selection process, tips to ace and get selected. So maybe, yeah, we can start from your CAT score. What was the undergraduation? What was the subject that you guys did your undergraduations in? Work experience or fresher before IIM Bangalore? So yeah, so we'll start from the 2024 batch. So Jainesh, you can start, and then Vatsal, then Rahul, then Mayur. Yeah, Jainesh.
Sure. So I'll quickly introduce myself. Yeah. So my name is Jainesh Rathod, and I'm currently a PGP BA student. So before this, I have done my engineering from Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, Mumbai, in information technology. So I have WorkX. So I have worked as an applications developer with Oracle for almost 4 years, primarily working in financial services vertical. So while working, I felt that management would give me a more holistic picture and felt that MBA would be the right way forward. So this is how I'm in IMB right now. And speaking about the CAT score, so it was around 98 percentile. And yeah, what was the other questions?
Yeah. So, and you can also give your CAT prep tips. Maybe
okay.
one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So my primary focus was on the mocks, basically. So I gave mocks, and what were my weak links. So I prepared accordingly. So it was a reverse process, which worked out for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Mocks would be the way forward.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll talk more about the CAT prep because our audience mostly are from CAT 23. So they're preparing for CAT 23. And some of them will be also CAT retakers from 22. So yeah, so we'll focus on both. Yeah. Vatsal, next. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Kalyani, for the introduction. So I am also a computer engineer like Jainesh. I am from VJTI Mumbai. So I graduated in 2019. After which I worked at Deutsche Bank in technology. So I was there for 3 years. I realized that I'm very passionate about businesses, more passionate about businesses, and that led to take this step. CAT score was 99.1. It was my second attempt. And from there, I want to derive the CAT tip, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Realize that it's more about test taking than about, say, English or maths or DILR, which was a learning for me from the first year, and it helped in the second year. And currently, I am a PGP student at IIM Bangalore. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the first year, so yeah.
Yeah, so I'll come back to you, Vatsal, regarding some CAT tips as well. Yeah, Rahul.
Yeah, so hello everyone. I am Rahul Tripathi, and before joining IIM Bangalore, I was electronics and communication engineer from NIT Durgapur. And prior to that, I have 4 years of experience, starting with Vodafone Idea Limited for around 18 months, and then I joined ZS Associates, and there I worked around for 30 months. So I have like diverse work across 2 different industries, and again, like everyone else who thought that business would be the next step of going forward, I was also thinking on the similar lines while working in the consulting firm. So I decided to give CAT. So also around CAT, this was my 3rd attempt. And yeah, after a lot of struggle, I finally cleared in my 3rd attempt, and my percentage was around 98.5. And then I joined IIM Bangalore as PGP, and I'll be joining American Express in
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Mayur.
I think I'm the oldest of the lot. I graduated from IIMB in 2021. Prior to that, I had worked as a software developer for a company called Dell EMC for about 3 years. And for the last 2 years, I've been working with Microsoft. My CAT score was 99.88. It was my fourth attempt. I had gotten close to 100 percentile for 4 consecutive years, but then, things kept happening and I had to retake it every single time. But glad to be here. Thank you so much, Kalyani, for the warm introduction. And one CAT prep tip which I always give to my juniors is, just hang on, just hold on. Don't, get demotivated by poor academics and things like that. Because I remember I was the only guy in my entire batch who had like close to 80% marks in their class 12, whereas everybody in IMB used to have stellar academics. So don't worry about bad academics in the past. Focus on your CAT percentile, focus on maximizing your interview score and other factors which are in your control.
So, Mayur, why did you take it 4 times? As in, was it because you only wanted to get into IIM Bangalore? Was that the reason, or was it? Yeah.
So, Kalyani, I came from tech background. I worked as a hardcore technical software engineer. So I wanted to make a career in product management. And the kind of opportunities, especially in consulting and product management, which we have at IIM Bangalore, are, what can I say, exceptional and better than as compared to the peers like ANC. So yes, I think that was one reason. And other than that, I think the year I joined IIM Bangalore, NIRF rankings were out and then IMB was one back then. But don't really focus on, the ranking part of it. Just join a B school, which is closer to your heart.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now a few tips, maybe. Okay. Firstly, I would like to ask Vatsal, what did you do in your first attempt and you learned from it, and then, you excelled in the second one? So what was that one thing that you did? That changed for you? Something that changed for you. That's cool.
Tricky one, right? Because the first I was very sure I wanted to do an MBA when I started. So, and also I was already into my work 1 year. So I went with my first attempt. It wasn't, an attempt to test the waters. In fact, I could have given it earlier just to see how the exam is. So the learning would have come earlier. But in any case, so first attempt was rigorous, right? Because I had to manage my work and the CAT prep. So, in the morning, I used to do questions, and in the nights, I used to again solve sections. So it was all, 5-6 hours a day, continuously for months, and it didn't work out in the exam for some reason. Then because I thought I was putting in the hard yards, but things were coming out. Later, I realized that, okay, maybe I can solve. So CAT requires you to solve half of the questions, right? And you already know enough to solve those half questions, or those easier ones, or the low-hanging fruits.
Okay.
An equal skill to identify which are the ones that you want to pick and solve them. So I was struggling in picking up the right ones. I was wasting a lot of time on trying to solve all the tough questions as well. So and that didn't help. So my learning and my advice would be just obviously to give a lot of mocks, but also at the same time put yourself in that time pressure. And when you look back at your section or your mock, just see whether you could solve all the questions that were low-hanging fruits, or the ones which everyone would have done and were easier.
Okay, Jainesh, what was so our CAT prep guys? They're right now. Yeah, April is almost over. So from May, if they're starting off, what's the timeline that one should be looking at?
Yeah. So firstly, I would like to say everyone on this panel is a repeater's batch. So mine was also a third attempt. So first one was just to test the water. So I didn't prepare for it. But the rest too, I was preparing for it. And so speaking about it, so I started the third CAT attempt around May itself, around this time. Yeah, so I had learned from my mistakes that you might know the basics, right? Like if you know your basics of maths and English, it might be right, but that would fetch you around 80-85 percentile. It won't help you score more. So if you want to score more, test was the only factor which was helping me out. So it's about the time pressure. If there is no time pressure, I'm probably sure everyone over here would be able to score exceptionally well, because the question itself are not very difficult. However, the time pressure, when it kicks in, it makes a lot of difference. So speaking about it, so I brushed my basics around May, June-ish types, and mock starts around June, July-ish. So so I start giving mocks regularly. So even if I was not preparing the basic or not brushing about it, I made sure that I will give mocks, at least 2 mocks or 1 mock per week, irrespective of my work schedule. So as Vatsal mentioned that he was juggling between work and studying. So that was the case with me as well. So I had to put a bit of extra yards, like at nights or sometimes in the early mornings, just before my work, to like brush up on, analyze it, etc.
Okay. For a general merit student, how much percentile should he get to get into IIM Bangalore? Is work experience mandatory to get into top IIMs? So Mayur has answered, required percentile can vary depending upon your academic score and work experience and a few other factors. My advice is to dedicate as much time as possible and aim to get a percentile closer to 100 as possible, so that, obviously, that would help. How to improve VARC section, because I can't understand English. So can you guys give me the detailed strategy for improving my VARC section for CAT 2023? So Rahul, if you can just give your own take as well, as in how did you prepare for it? Yeah,
sure. So VARC was also one of the very I say struggling section for me as well. So in the previous 2 attempts, the overall percentile came down because of the VARC section only. But in my final attempt, I was able to ace the VARC section pretty well. So the things which I did differently was, go through a lot of study material which are shorter, and of diverse topics. So usually people say to go through novels and newspapers, and they tell you to read those through those things. But in my opinion, if you go through a novel, you will be in the same mindset for the entire novel, so you will not get the diverse experience. So what I would recommend is, and what I did was, I went through short topics of around 150 words. That's how the pattern of CAT is, like that will be close to 150 to 200 words. And I did not spend much time in one particular topic. I used to juggle between topics very frequently, and it should be like diverse. Like once you are reading, say, a scientific topic, and then you move to a literature topic. So those kind of switching should be happening, and you should analyze how comprehensive it is going on for you or for any individual. Also, from the very beginning, the habit of a student is to go through horizontal reading. Like we read through books, and CAT is like completely a vertical screen. And usually it becomes difficult for the students who are preparing for the first time to have that habit of reading in a vertical screen. Nowadays, it's very obvious that people will be using laptops a lot. But again, this is one of the small things which takes into account when you are preparing for VARC. So these were some small things which I did, and also dedicating too much time on VARC. Like it's obvious that if you have spent 4 minutes, 5 minutes time reading a paragraph or comprehending a paragraph, it's in your ego or it's in your mind that I have to solve VARC. Like you have spent so much time and you want to get something out of it. So that is something which we need to avoid. Like
we
have to let it go. We have to let it go some of the questions.
We'll keep taking questions in between for CAT, obviously, because everybody wants to ask about CAT first step. So, but we will be now talking about the PI a bit. Also the process basically. So tell me one thing, there was a question as well about it, that how much of a if somebody has a stellar academic and zero work experience, does that person, do they have a chance to get selected by IIM Bangalore? Vatsal, can you answer?
Sure. So absolutely, you have a very good chance.
Are there enough freshers there? Because most of you are...
They are lesser than IIM Ahmedabad and Calcutta.
Correct. Okay.
Because, Bangalore does give a lot of attention to your work experience.
Yeah. Okay.
But that in no way means that, it is not a place to be for others or freshers as well. Our batch has around 20-30%. So around 100, 150 freshers, which is
which is not bad.
Exactly, it's enough. Having good academics and just knowing your things well is good.
Okay, so let's talk about the PI bit, and you can also talk about your own personal experience. So Jainesh and Vatsal, I'll be asking more from this section because obviously you guys are the most recent, and of course Mayur and Rahul, I'll be asking you guys more about the placements and internships and all that. Jainesh, tell us about the what was the PI like, and is it a little different from from the others? So what is it like, and what are the questions? What were the questions? You can talk about your own experience.
So before PI we had VAC.
You can talk about all that. The whole thing and the little bit of the process.
So speaking of that, so I had a topic on NEP, National Education Policy, which was actually not recent. If you have a look, like it is a 2020 ka policy, but it startled me a bit. Like I was not expecting it. However, it showed that you need to be like aware of this of all the current affairs as well as 1-2 years before ka things, right? So so it can be a random thing. However, you can pretty much be sure that if you write certain actual points and back up with your facts, then it's quite fine. I mean, you will do well with that. Now speaking on PI, so IIM Bangalore is, I guess, the only IIM which has 3 panelists, most of them. So 2 of them would be profs and 1 would generally be alumni. So so it's a bit longer interview. So for me personally, it was around 30 to 45 minutes. So it's longer. Usually, and it was online, right? So it was online. Generally, it's of all other IIMs, I have seen it less than 30 minutes. But it's a bit more expensive.
What was the kind of questions they were asked?
So for me personally, one was because I was also applying for PGP BA. So a lot of it was on data as well. And how do you back up your decisions and interpretations based upon the data? So it was around that. So one was a decision sciences professor. He asked more on that. Also, my background is of like a CSE IT. So there were like questions on that. Another one was a marketing professor. So he asked more basically on, say, Zomato Blinkit acquisition. So it was current affair based at that time. So how do you like see a business value in it? About that.
So basically, if you have to give a tip, what would be that? As in to prepare to keep reading everything.
No. So generally, so there might be 1 or 2 verticals or things which you are more interested in. So you can point it out in the interview that I'm interested in finance more, or some let's say a product management role. So maybe a tech news, latest tech news, or maybe something. So veer your interview in that direction. Try to make it like focus as much as possible. So you can play on your strengths. Else it can go haywire, right?
Correct. Vatsal, you can talk about your experience.
So essentially there are 3 parts to the IIM Bangalore process. At first, as Jainesh pointed out, is VAT, writing assessment test, and interestingly I had the same topic as
if you guys did not prepare for it, what did you guys even write? I mean, it's a very like giving facts about something that you
so fortunately I had some idea about it. I knew some things about it, but then that's your skill. If you read a lot of articles, you know how to structure things.
Correct.
So just my tip for VAT would just be to keep reading, and that, as Rahul also said, helps in verbal ability, right? Anyway, you have to read a lot. So and I am not a natural reader, right? By does not come naturally to me. To me, it's a lot of effort to read.
Okay.
So first, again, one thing I did differently in my second CAT attempt was I read books for 1 month. Properly, every month I read 1 or 2 books. I forced myself to do it because then those skills start building of comprehending content quickly and structuring things. So and also do it as in a short sprint, even if you're not a natural reader. So for that, that's one thing. The second stage of the application is your profile. And this is very unique to IIM Bangalore. No, I don't think any other IIM has it. It is your SOP and a reference from someone in your school or workplace. So there are 2 people who will have to write and attest that you are right. So SOP is a 750 word thing and it has to have everything. It is a very generic SOP. So you can structure it however you want, but it tells, I think if I remember, it asks you to write about your achievements, the impact you made, you as a person, everything. What we all used to do, and IIM Bangalore assigns a mentor to help you, again a student, you write it out and you again vet it with people, right? You show it to a lot of people, you get feedback. IMS also helps a lot when it comes to SOP vetting. So, and this SOP is the single most important piece I feel in your application, along with academics, which is I think everyone would be having because they have a shortlist, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Now, and this links directly to the last stage, which is the personal interview. So the personal interview in my case, and of what I've heard from a lot of people, is very much also focused on your SOP. So you know, the panelists will open your SOP in front of you. I mean, they won't show you, but they're reading it, and then they'll query on everything there. So you need to structure it in a way, if you're confident about some things, highlight it in your SOP because it will be asked. Mostly it will be asked. Last point I want to make is, as you said, should you read everything? No, not really. You need to obviously be well equipped or aware about what's going on in the current and link it to your work experience. Because, for example, I was working in a bank, though I did technology for the bank, but I was in a bank, right? So at the time the Russia-Ukraine war was going on. So questions were surrounding how it has impacted banking, what is the SWIFT protocol. Mostly they try to link your organization, not only your work, to what is happening currently.
Right.
How well you can link. So that is the common theme. So every time I read the newspaper, I kept an eye on, okay, how is it affecting banking?
Correct.
Technology, these two, everything. So I think that really helps.
Okay. Yeah, Rahul, do you have any tip for a PI? Any tip?
Yeah, one thing, like listening to all this VARC Prep thing. So one thing which came in my mind was like anything new that used to happen in the world, we were like, one more topic for VARC, things like that. So that is one of the very common feeling that I also had. So and also it's good if you use some statistical numbers, like it's not necessary, but if you know about that topic, it's good that you are aware about NEP, and if you can mention some key statistics, then it is really, you know, you can stand out.
Correct.
Yeah, in my case, I did not mention any, but just it adds a brownie point to your overall presentation.
Okay. Yeah, Mayur, you have any tip? Otherwise, we'll move to the next. We'll actually take a few questions. There are a lot of questions. Yeah. Mayur.
No, I think all my juniors, you know, have very polished answers. I mean, I don't really have anything else to add on to those.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a few questions. How to crack CAT within 7 months with realistic approach, which works for all students, below, above, etc. All students.
It's really simple.
Yeah. Mayur, you want to take it?
Yeah, I can tell you. I was a below average student, so yes, I can answer from that angle. So I think 7 months is a good enough time. If you are able to take it 3 to 4 hours every day, you should be able to, you know, prepare well in first couple of months on yourself and then start taking mocks. So I think these days CAT is 2 hour long. So yes, if you have like 4 or 5 hours a day, you can actually take 2 mocks.
Correct.
When I was a student, it used to be a 3 hour long exam.
Yeah.
So yes, if you are able to, you know, practice everything, finish off all your, you know, books or study material, whichever you are using in first couple of months, you will still have 5 months, which is like 150 days. Even if you take 1 mock a day, it's like 150 mocks. So yes, I think that's a good enough number. a lot of my friends who ultimately got into top 5 colleges had taken close to 100 or maybe more than that.
Okay.
So yes, that's a good number to target for, and 7 months is definitely realistic.
Okay. Okay. There's a question about I have 2-year drop without any work experience, so gap year. Will it affect my dream to get into one of the top IIMs? Who would like to answer? Jainesh, you would like to answer?
So yeah, it depends again, but you need to show what have you done in those 2 years. So if there is anything interesting that you have done in these 2 years, like you have filled the gap appropriately, then it doesn't matter as such. You need to show that you can multitask, basically.
So basically, the person is, I think, anonymous. So basically, you just need to justify why you were not doing anything, or what were you doing anyway. So if you can justify it to yourself, then you can.
Then it's fine.
Sure you can speak about it in the interview as well. Yeah. Okay. There's a question. Since Rahul said to go through the passages of 150 words, what about the Aeon's 3,500 word articles? Is it suggested, Rahul?
I don't think that you should go through the. So you are reading it for CAT prep, not reading for your own knowledge or something. So if you want to increase your knowledge, then that's a different thing. Like you can do that. But if you are aiming that you are preparing for CAT VARC, go to the first 2 paragraphs or first 3 paragraphs of that passage, and then you can switch to some other topic. So the whole point is that your mind should be able to switch between topics very frequently, because there will be 4 different passages of 4 different diverse topics. So and also like I was not very comfortable with those literary articles. So it really used to bore me a lot. But again, you have to be acquainted to those readings as well.
Okay.
One point.
Yeah.
So Aeon essays I used to read, and they are very long. And as I said, it was very tough for me to finish anything which was long to read. But I remember it has sections. So it's not completely 3,500. There are small sections. So you can focus on one section A, and B, this thing about active reading, which IMS mentors and everyone used to talk about. I didn't quite get it at first, but then when you actually practice it, right, it makes a lot of sense. By active reading, it means anything you read, you keep a mental map of what you're reading. Because in the exam, if you miss or if you are not focused, it's about being focused. If you're not focused for say 2 minutes, gone. Whatever you've read is gone. So you'll have to read it again. If you read it again, your time is gone. So essentially, everything you read, just be very focused and active. And there's no other way to talk about. It's just active reading is a thing. It's if you focus, it's actively reading.
Yeah. Lokesh has said, thanks for the answer, Mayur, but I have heard that who have scored less than 80 at 12th, they haven't received call. Is it correct? So yeah. Mayur.
Hey, so sorry. You are saying people with less than 80 haven't got calls. Okay. So the criteria keep changing year over year. That is for sure. And see, you cannot do anything for your past sins. Like whatever is done is done. Correct. The only thing which is under your control is a super high CAT score. And when I say super high, 100%, nothing else.
100%.
Okay. And what other thing is in your control? Once you get an interview call, be as much prepared as you can. Leave no stone unturned.
Correct.
Okay. Don't bother about what has happened in the past. And okay, it's completely fine. If IIMB does not call you, A will or C will or FMS will. And don't worry, all of these are good B schools.
Correct.
Don't get fixated. And but personally talking about my batch, I think I had a couple of friends who had less than 80% marks. One of them was from Maharashtra board, the other was from CBSE.
Okay.
So if that helps you answer the question, it would be great. But one of them had 99.99, the other had 99.97 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, Jainesh, you were saying something?
Yeah, so one thing is if you are say from a Maharashtra board or a board which is less maybe say gives less marks.
CBSE, CBSE.
Yeah, so there is an advantage actually. There is actually an advantage. So it compares you, at least IMB does. So it compares you with your peers. So you're being compared with Maharashtra board people.
Right.
So it mitigates that. So you do not need to worry about it. So when you're talking about 90 plus scores and all, they are generally for CBSE board, and it's easier to get 90 plus in CBSE board than Maharashtra board.
Yeah, I have a primary concern that I'm leaving my job this May, and I'm not thinking to join anywhere considering CAT prep and giving a good attempt to start a e-com business. I'm from IT background and I have 2 years of experience. I have concerns regarding a career gap, but want to leverage it to justify for a business attempt. Can this be justified in the interviews? Who would like to take this? Vatsal, yeah, okay.
It can give if you are doing a good work, right? If you are working after May, right? You cannot just say that you have worked on something in your interviews if you haven't. So it's definitely okay. It looks good. It is ambitious. I have a batchmate who has run his own business and he is in. So that is in fact valued. In fact, IIM Bangalore is entrepreneurial and is it has an incubation cell. The
yeah.
So it is genuinely encouraged, but my only point would be then the work has to be, you will be definitely asked about it. And, if you're taking a drop, make it worth the time and it will be valued.
Okay. Let's now talk about the academic section. Move to the academic section, and we'll keep taking questions again in between from CAT and PI. Yeah. So let's talk about the how exactly is the classes. When do you select the electives? Is it the second year? And if it is, then how do you select it? Maybe Rahul, you can talk about it. Also, we'll talk about the clubs and committees with Vatsal and Jainesh. Yeah. Okay, Rahul.
Yeah, sure. So again, I think Mayur has mentioned in a lot of his previous sessions that first 2 terms are going to be the toughest term at IIMB.
Yeah.
So that is true for both the juniors who are here. I think they know that pretty well. So the first 2 terms has fixed, core courses. So there are 6 courses in both the terms, and each courses has certain credit score assigned to it. And then the scoring which is done is completely relative scoring. So this is how grading system is done. And you do not get any chance to select the core courses. So these core courses gets updated every year. So my year had a different courses, and if I compare with Vatsal and Jainesh, there were a lot of new courses that came in based on the industry requirements. So that is one thing which is pretty good about IIMB, that they
keeps changing. Yes, it's updated. So,
yeah. So even I saw some subjects of Jainesh and Vatsal, and I thought that wow, this is good. This could have been one of the subjects which I could have taken in the.
Correct.
So those are the things which happen. And coming to the third term, so after your placements are over, then in the second term itself, there is elective course bidding, and you get to choose 2 courses in your third term. So the primary objective behind giving an elective in the third term itself is that students can get a chance to get some industry knowledge or some knowledge of the subjects around which they are going to do an internship with. For example, a fresher is going to do a finance internship. So he or she can take a finance elective in the third term itself, so that he or she has a better idea around what the internship is going to be. Or say a person who is working in a manufacturing industry and is really inclined towards supply chain management. So there is a course in the third term itself which he or she can take to have a better knowledge of the industry. So I think no other IIMs offer electives so early in the third term itself. So IIMB is one of those colleges. So also around elective bidding, it is completely neutral, and it's a fair process overall. And each and every student is given equal number of points. Bidding points is what we say. And it is same point is given to everyone irrespective of their previous CGPA or anything. It's same for everyone basically. And this is what happens in the first year. And from the second year onwards, you get to select all the subjects that you are going to take. Third term, you have bidding for all 6 subjects, and same in term 4 you have bidding for all 6 subjects in term 5, and these things go on. Also, there are some minimum credit points requirement as well. So there are two kinds of courses. So one is the subject courses that we talk about, and there are some qualitative courses as well, which students need to take. So each student need to take minimum of 2 qualitative courses. And again, these rules will change as new batch comes on.
So Vatsal and Jainesh, you guys have got the same.
PGP BA differs in the fact that you have certain requirements for analytical subjects. So as Vatsal mentioned, there are some mandatory subjects in the 3rd and 4th sem, especially, which are very analytical in nature in the decision sciences area that you need to have so as to create have a certain requirement criteria fulfillment. So that's the only difference. The first and the second terms are pretty much the same, almost the same. So as you are selecting your own specialization by choosing your own subjects in PGP, in similar fashion, so you'll have certain subjects allotted to you in business analytics, so that you complete the business analytics course as well. So you have a bit more extra subjects to learn. So
Correct. Yeah. Vatsal, you want to add anything? How did you guys, any tips on how do you select electives? You just, you see how it is going on in the first term, and then, you decide, or is it like,
So it comes to you is what
it comes to,
The reason I'm saying that is because the first 2 terms are a very good mix of all types of subjects. So you realize that you are good at something, you are enjoying something, and also you realize something you are not good at or something. So then it is a choice you make whether you want to explore something you don't know or build your strengths.
Correct.
That has to align with what you want to do in the long term. So it differs for different people. Some want to explore, a new avenue. Some want to just be very strong in what they already like. So that is something you figure out very easily.
Correct.
Also laugh at all of our faces, tells us that we do not get what we always want in terms of subjects as well. So bidding is a very tough process as well. We have to strategize a lot of things before taking any subject, because everyone wants to take, good professor, good.
Correct. Let's talk about clubs and committees. Are they? Are you guys member of clubs and committees? Jainesh, which one are you a member of?
So there are around 30 plus clubs and committees in IIM Bangalore, but I am part of Sigma, which is the PM and Tech Club. So those who will be joining.
Mayur, were you a member of Sigma? Vatsal, you member of?
I am a member of the Forum for Industrial Interaction, which is one of the oldest clubs, and they used to organize Vista, which is OC. So there are 3. There is a society, there is a club, and there is a organizing committee.
Vatsal, don't give them everything now. Okay, go to the college.
Okay. No, but by watching this video, they'll feel more aspired towards, IIM Bangalore. That's the dream destination. We are just
long story short, there's a lot of scope to do a lot of things, because there are a lot of clubs and a lot of work you can do and help students. So,
Rahul, you are a member of any clubs and committees, societies? Vatsal gave it away. Rahul.
I was member of merchandise and retail club. All these student juniors who are wearing these IIMB t-shirts, all those were, organized by our club only. So they have seen my faces a lot of times in the march. So almost all the colleges know who are march people. So
interesting. Mayur,
guys, another
you Sigma and anything else?
One advice which I would give you is, if you are interested in something which does not really have a club or society, you can start it. Okay. So there is no point in wondering if there is something which already exists, as long as you have the upper hand to start it yourself.
Oh, that's a nice one. Yeah, that'll be interesting to start something of your own. Yeah, and that person can then come in the next B School Insider and can say, "Oh, I started a LARBA committee." Yeah, okay, great. Let's take a few more questions and then we'll dive into internships and placements. Okay, I'm a little weak in Quant, so how do I prepare for Quant? So yeah, there's been quite a few questions about if somebody's Quant is not strong, and also there was a question about someone from humanities background, and since all of you are engineering from engineering background, so I don't know if you guys can answer it, but what kind of challenge and how much of a preparation, how does somebody like from humanities background can prepare for CAT? So yeah, so this question can be taken in parts. So maybe Quant bit, Vatsal, Jainesh. Yeah, Jainesh, you can take the and Vatsal, you can add on the Quant bit, and or maybe Vatsal, you can talk about the DILR. We might as well cover it. Jainesh, you can talk about the Quant and the tips how to prepare.
Yeah.
Mayur, you can talk about the humanities bit and as in how do they prepare. Yeah, Jainesh.
Yeah, so for Quant, I basically prepared from IIM books like which they give preparation material. So that helped me brush up the basics of it, and then start seeing different type of questions. So that would only happen with mocks, right? So you will find after a certain point of time, you'll start to find certain patterns in certain type of questions. Okay, so identify that and make sure that it is being recollected on the day of the exam. So it will require much less time. So if you see the pattern across the years, more or less, CAT has certain patterns of like questions. So identify that and play onto it. There's no point like discovering a new question in the CAT. It will take a lot of time. It will fetch you the same marks as an easy question. So that would be
what's up?
Yeah, so just one point on Quant. Very clearly defined that this much is arithmetic, this much is geometry, and that all stays almost similar over years. So if you are, as the question said, not very strong in Quant, you identify what you are good at and do that really well. You can skip some parts. Okay, I've seen people skip parts and only focus on 2-3 parts, but do it really well, because those questions will come. And it is IMS mentors will tell you, they were very clear in what you should do. So you can upload. For DILR, it's about confidence and selecting the right set. So really it many times ends up being the make or break. If you do 2, you make it. If you don't do 2, you don't make it. It's many times that's the case. So the only way to do it is solve past CAT, and there are one good way is to solve past CAT papers and do that level of questions, the tough questions, and see your skill should be that in the paper when you get say 6 or 5 sets, you should be able to identify that 1, 2 I'll do, and these are the ones which are easy. On the out, it all looks tough, but because if you do a lot of questions, you will get this knack of identifying what are the 2 questions which are doable. I think that is the skill you have to inculcate.
So
just do a lot of past CAT questions.
So Mayur.
So Kalyani, talking about people from humanities background, they ensure that the batch has a very good mix or diversity, as we call it, of people from different backgrounds. So in my batch, about 72% people were from engineering. The rest 28% were from, backgrounds like commerce, humanities, law. I had a batchmate who was a lawyer. And then there were a few doctors as well. All right. They always ensure that the required percentile to get an interview call is slightly lower for those sections. I think they're compared between themselves and not with engineers. And then let's say if people come from backgrounds wherein they have not studied mathematics for like last 10, 20 years or something like that, IIMB used to have a dedicated program. Like let's say everybody joined, for my batch, everybody joined on 10th of June. But then certain people who had lesser exposure to mathematics, if I may say so, were called 2 weeks in advance and were given some training, like basics of integration and differentiation, plotting different graphs. So yes, there was a basic training given to all people, and for others it was optional. So I think a lot of engineers decided to chuck it But then a lot of people from non-engineering and non-commerce backgrounds actually wanted, to attend this. So yes.
Correct. Okay. Let's talk about internships and placements. So the internship process, Jainesh and Vatsal, you guys are going through your hectic schedule. So yeah, so Jainesh and Vatsal, you guys can just talk about very briefly a little bit about the process, and then talk about your own as much as you can about your own personal experience of internship. Rahul and Mayur, I'll talk about the placements. Yeah, Jainesh, Vatsal, you can start.
Sure. So the process is, because internship processes start directly after the first term.
Correct.
You don't have a lot of marks. You don't have any marks or results out, right? Your judgment is more or less based, your evaluation is based on your profile, okay, in most cases. So your profile is a resume. So essentially the process starts where you are told to design a resume, which is a standard format for everyone. And then, you have to understand how to structure your points, what you want to showcase. So if someone is wanting to go into consulting, there's a certain way the resume should be structured. The point should show more impact and numbers. If you're into product management, it should have more technical terms and less generic terms. So this is how, and the best thing about IIM Bangalore, which I really liked, was the batch is really helpful. Everyone is very helpful. So there is a thing they call, you get help if you ask for it, and that is really true. So it's a proper 15-20 day period where every first year who is making the resume goes to all the second years, or if by example wanted to go to consulting, I could directly approach 15-20 seniors, went to them one after the other, and they gave me advice and their feedback on my resume. And not only helps your resume, but also to make connects and friends in the scene. And everyone is very approachable. Once that is done, you submit your resume, and then you get a shortlist, which is a causal ambiguity. People don't know how or when it works, but if you do, if you take enough reviews, if you make a good resume, it more or less works out, because there are a lot of opportunities. So once the shortlist is done, then it's a 2-day process in most cases, where you have an interview, and you leading up to it, there are partner dinners, discussions. I'm speaking for consulting because that is
what correct.
So it differs from but there are interactions with the company where you are evaluated. So for finance, you buddy calls start, which are evaluated. So that is very specific to what you want to do. But in 2 days, the whole batch of 500 is placed. Or was the first something I saw for the first time. So
Jainesh, you can talk about your how is it similar process for business analytics?
So it's a common pool. It's a common
and since Vatsal is more keen in consulting, so he was talking from that point of view. You are more interested in product management, so you can talk from that.
So Vatsal has pretty much covered the whole process.
The process.
I'll speak from my own personal experience. So speaking about it, I was more interested in product management. So there were no buddy calls as such for me. So it is basically a day 0, day 1 process. On the first day, I got some certain shortlisted. I went for the interviews, maybe 2 or 3 interviews per, per company. It can be a singular interview as well. It depends on the company. And you get pretty much selected. That's it. It's a very simple process for product management. It does not involve a lot of buddy calls and dinners, etc.
Interesting.
But it's basically dependent on your previous profile. So I had a very strong technical profile. So I got a lot of product management shortlist based upon that. So
So do you think, Mayur, do you think, for placements, for final placements as well, for product management, especially from companies like Microsoft and Apple and all, are they more inclined towards hiring somebody from a tech background who's already a software engineer? You were already a software engineer, and then you did your MBA and then product management with Microsoft. Is there a link, or is there are they hiring the recruiters are interested equally on a non-tech guy?
So, Kalyani, there are two ways in which, companies recruit, especially for tech and product roles. First way is you submit your resume, they'll shortlist you and interview you. In most cases, we have seen that people from tech backgrounds, clear this threshold and they are called for the interview. The second way, like companies like Flipkart, I remember, used to float case studies. And whoever wishes to attempt it can attempt. If the case study was good, the company will shortlist and interview you, regardless of your background. So a lot of people with non-tech background used to, land into PM jobs by the second route, which I talked about. Whereas the first route used to specifically focus on people with 2+ years of, technical work ex.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, Rahul, you can talk about your placement experience. It's the most recent one. Yeah. And how did you get placed with MX? Whom did you intern with?
Yeah, so I interned with Ernst & Young. And I got a PPO from them as well. So but I then rejected the PPO and then decided to go for some other company in the
So you sat for the placement. You sat for the placement.
I sat for the entire placement process. So there are certain restrictions that if you select if you accept your PPO, so then there are certain restrictions which are which we have to abide by. But I wanted to go through the entire process as a fresh. So again, the final placements are divided into two parts. One is lateral placements and then the final placement. And the lateral placement is a process which goes on for around a month. So it's a month-long process wherein companies comes in on a daily basis, I would say. And in final placements, the 1 or 2 day process is there in which the entire placement gets over. Just the way the internship is summer internship is done. So final placements. So starting with the lateral placements. So once we are done with our fifth term, we are given a 1 week or 1.5 week window wherein we can update our CV. So in that we can add any case competition that we have won in IIMB or any other points that we want to add it in your CV. And post that the application starts, and then various companies starts coming in, and we have to submit our application. And again, the lateral placement is mainly for those people who have work experience of at least 2 years. So there are certain companies which keeps which relaxes up to 18 months, but I think there will be a handful of companies like those, but mostly they look for candidates who are above 22 months of work experience.
So were you so were you asked why you for your MX interview, were you asked why you didn't take the PPO with EY?
No. So I think companies do not know about that.
They would not know.
So they would not know basically. So so like that the process started, and then final placement is for everyone. So those who have work ex like me, I had 48 months of work ex. So I thought that in lateral placement I will get a lot more companies who would match with my profile, and I would be able to express myself in a better way. So in final placements, the process goes on very rapidly, and it's very tiring as well. But in lateral placements, you get a lot of time with the recruiters as well, wherein you can express your views, express your points, and everything. So and also in lateral placement, there are a lot of companies who come for product roles, like the product management role. And there are a lot of companies who look for mid-senior level managerial role, because they're hiring for hiring the people who have some level of work experience. So in my case, as Mayur mentioned, there were a lot of product companies who floated case competitions as well. So the primary target which I was targeting was around product management only. And if there are other companies who have good profile and good package and everything, so I went for a lot of companies who floated product management case studies. I went through them, solved them, I cracked them, and then I also got shortlisted from a lot of product management companies as well. So I myself do not have any tech background as such, a software engineer like that. So as Mayur mentioned, so this thing is truly something that happens. And in the interviews, it completely depends on your how well you have prepared for product management roles. I personally, I was able to crack a lot of product management interviews as well. Those interviews have multiple rounds, like round 1, round 2, round 3. I was able to go to the last rounds in a lot of companies. So finally, when IMS came, I was able to, I saw that the profile is very much matching with what I have done in the previous work experience. So my shortlist came, and then I went for the interview, and the interview was around, it was 2 rounds, and each round was around 1.5 hours long.
Okay.
So after 3 hours of interview, I was finally able to convert the American Express interview.
Yeah.
So this thing is, the thing is that 1.5 hour interview, in the final placements, the interview do not go this long. Like in the final placements or summer internships, the interview goes on around maximum of 40 to 50 minutes.
Okay.
And they cannot, go beyond that. But in laterals, you are judged a lot. Actually, there are a lot of questions that are being asked, because you are being hired at a mid-senior level position. So that's the scenario there.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Rahul. You've given a complete detailed answer for placement process. Yeah, Mayur, what was your placement like? Was it at a PPO with Microsoft, or was it a placement? You sat for your placement?
So Kalyani, I did not get a return offer from the company where I interned.
Okay.
But, we have 2 different placement seasons, which I think one of the juniors talked about. One is lateral, the other is final placements. Lateral is for people with, say, 20 plus months of working. So I went through the lateral process.
Okay.
The process was pretty straightforward. You submit your resume, and then you'll have like 3-4 rounds of interviews, followed by an HR round. And I think this was consistent across all tech companies like Amazon, Paytm, Flipkart, because these were the ones which I had appeared for.
Okay. Okay. All right.
And just after that, we had, Myntra and Razorpay also. So yes, all of them had like 3 to 5 rounds with resume submission.
All right. Okay. We are about to wrap up. So yeah, let's take 1 or 2 questions, and then maybe, and you can also include your tips along with it and those questions. Okay. How to build up concentration in terms of CAT preparation while working full time? Yeah, Vatsal, can you answer?
Yeah, I definitely can, and I'm sure everyone will have. Because and mostly in Bangalore, people have gone through this to get into Bangalore, this stage. So that makes the batch very interesting. But so to answer the question, you will have to prioritize. You can't do everything. I realized at one point that I had to put other things at a back step. It could be your social, whatever time you spend there, or maybe your work, not go out of the way to do a lot of work, do what's expected of you, but single focus on CAT for at least a few months. I think 3 months of that would help. But my only point is, it is very much possible. You have 24 hours. You just need to prioritize well.
Okay. I'm working in Big Four as of now, and will have 19 months work X by June this year. And I'm planning to leave the job and go all for CAT prep. Is it a good decision? Will it have a negative impact in my interview? Yeah. Vatsal, you want to answer, or Mayur, you want to answer?
Stay at your job, the more number of months, and hence the more points you will get in your interview process. Having said that, if it hampers your CAT preparation, then I think you can leave it. But you will have to probably justify your gap year in your interview.
Okay.
And there is one good way about how you can go about it, and which is, you can tell them that you upskilled yourself.
Okay.
For example, if you were preparing for, say, finance jobs after your MBA, say that I was preparing for CFA level 1. All right. Or let's say if you have similar courses for marketing or operations, you have Six Sigma. So let's say if you're aiming for operations, you can tell them that I took Six Sigma and, prepared myself to become a better candidate. But if you did nothing, then it becomes, a reason to worry, and panelists get to cherry pick the very, very best talent in India.
Yeah. Okay.
So of course, this would not really help if you had done nothing in that gap year.
Yeah, correct. Will 3 years of work experience cause any problems during placements? Is there any upper limit for it?
Not really.
No?
Not really. The cutoff to appear for lateral placements is about 2 years. So I think 3 is not very far away from 2, the cutoff.
Rahul, you can give a tip on DILR. Nobody has covered DILR. We've been covering Quant and VARC. Mayur, you can talk about the PI, and Vatsal, you can talk about, a lot of people are also facing that problem of how do you keep yourself motivated throughout. So Vatsal, you can answer that. Yeah, Rahul and Jainesh, DILR. Tip.
Yeah, so I think the DILR questions that comes in the CAT exams are like one of the best questions, I would say. Like the DILR section is one of the favorite section, and getting that quality question is really very difficult. So IMS has those kind of questions, I would say. And as Vatsal mentioned earlier, that you have to go through the previous CAT questions. I think that's a very good mix of questions that one can get for DILR. Like the questions that comes in DILR are very tricky at times, and you have to pick your choices very carefully. I remember my section as well, wherein I was in the slot 2 of CAT 2020, and that was one of the toughest DILR section that I was able to crack only one question correctly, like one section. But the relief that I got was that it had 6 questions instead of 4. So when I went to the 5th question and I saw that it's same question, that was a big relief for me, that I knew that this particular section is going to be correct. And after that, I picked up 1 question from one section and 2 questions from the other question. So like that, I was able to complete 8-9 questions which got correct with 100% accuracy. So that is one thing which you can ace in DILR, that you can get 100% accuracy if you pick up the right set of questions. That's my final.
Yeah, Jainesh?
Okay, so one thing I would say in terms of DILR would be don't attach your ego to a particular question or a particular set. So this is a very big problem especially with engineers, that we tend to stick with one particular question till it doesn't get solved, and it's very, very harmful, especially in terms of DILR, because it's just 40 minutes. It will vanish faster than you think. So one would be that, and another would be even if you're not able to solve the complete set, there are 4 questions in a set, generally 4, 5, 6 questions in a set. So even if you're able to crack 1 or 2 questions, which are much simpler, and that is usually the case, so try to solve that instead of the whole set. You are not required to solve the whole set. So it would be a difference. It would be the delta which will take you forward. So it will help you get 8 questions instead of 6. So that would help you clear the cutoff. So that would be my advice.
Okay. Yeah, Mayur, PI tip 1.
So I think in IIM Bangalore interviews, as somebody told, we have 3 panelists, and they ensure that they talk thoroughly about your work ex, provided you have work ex. Right? They would not ask software engineer to sort an array, but they would ask how is their work, impacting lives of people. I used to work at a company which, made laptops and server devices, and they told me, how does your work ex, make my life better? And I said, the laptop you are, holding in your hand right now is what I usually work upon. So yes, I was able to relate to it directly. The second thing is they'll pick something and go in great details about it. It could be some of your hobbies. Like a friend of mine was asked, about his passion for cooking. Another one was asked about trekking, or they will, get into your work ex, provided that it is something which they understand really well. For example, if you work in marketing or finance and they tend to know a lot more than you, so they'll ask you questions. But then since my work ex was very technical, they did not go into great details, but did ask me how my work ex impacts people. And what is the business model of my company. And when I had joined my company, I had acquired another company which was double its size. So what was the rationale about it? And most people would answer, as a software engineer, I would not know why one company acquired another, but then having an overall view that they wanted to be market leader in something, which is why their business strategy moved in this direction. So yes, that's how the interview usually proceeds. But in IIM Bangalore, you have something called SOP, Statement of Purpose, which you submit. It's a 600-word essay which you write to impress them, and they'll ask questions from that very, very carefully. So yes, be prepared and read through it very, very well.
Okay, yeah, Vatsal, how do we how do our attendees keep themselves motivated throughout?
This is, I think, the toughest part when it comes to any kind. And if you have work ex, it keeps on getting tougher. But
correct. And if they're retakers also, that's also, yeah. So yeah, how do you?
The one thing is you have to look at it as a long game and not just one attempt. And I'll be honest, because you don't know how the day goes, right? A lot depends on how the day goes, how you are reacting to questions that day. All you do is prepare yourself to the best. So not putting too much, emphasis on, this. I mean, obviously you give your best, but you also have to acknowledge that, you are learning and you are just giving your best. Because in the first year, I just thought I've done everything right, and nothing can stop me. But you things can go anyway. So first acknowledging that will take the pressure off you. Look at it, try your best, but look at it as a 1-2 attempt thing where you will learn things on the process, and every attempt you keep taking feedback, or every mock, the more you get feedback and critically analyze what is going wrong. If it's not working for you in the mocks, it is obvious to get frustrated, but the question is, ask yourself why in every mock, right? You just can't keep hoping. One thing is to say that on the day kuch bhi ho sakta hai, to ek din bura. But I realize that when things are going right, you will become consistent with your CAT mocks. So in SimCATs, first year I used to get 80, 90, 95, 80. There's a lot of variation. But the better you get, your scores start getting, good and consistent. So, that is a yardstick you have to evaluate on yourself on, not one mock or not 2 mocks, but how it is consistent across time, and just keep critically thinking why things are not working if they are not. And there is a lot of help available. You can ping any past CAT aspirant, and different things work for different people. So you find what works for you. So yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. That's all the time we have for this session. So I would like to thank all the attendees for the lovely questions, and thank you all the speakers. Thank you, Mayur Arora. Thank you, Jainesh Rathod. Thank you, Vatsal, Mankodi, and thank you, Rahul Tripathi. Thank you so much for all the insights you've provided. Thank you.
Thank you, Kalyani.